Hi, good morning. Welcome to my channel once more. It's so good to have you back. So I've been talking about a certain topic in software testing, right? Yes, I told you how I transitioned to software testing and how I'm exploring that particular role right now, and I want you to be in my journey with me. I want you to come along with me as I journey on this new career path. So today we're going to be talking about a segment of what testers do, like one of the activities or foundational activities that testers do. So it is called test planning. Yes, don't mind me, I'm so excited. So it's called test planning. So that's one of the major things that testers do. So what is test planning? So I'm going to tell you and kind of like give you insight into 4 different subtopics on what I'm talking about today. One of it is what is a test plan? Another one is why is test planning important, or why is the test plan important? Then the third one is going to talk about some of the components that we have in the test plan, and then the last segment, which is how exactly can I create a test plan. So just before I start, I'm going to say something. When we're talking about test planning, it can vary for each tester in terms of how they carry out that particular activity. What the component is can vary as well, depending on organization and also the tester on what they write in their activity and what it contains. But there are some basic in terms of some foundational stuffs that it contains, and that's basically what we're going to focus on today and talk about. So let's start. What exactly is test planning activity? Just like the name entails, is planning your test. That's basically it. Is that activity where the tester has to sit down, get all the resources that she or he might need for that particular project on how exactly to test it. So that's basically that activity. So an output from a test planning is what we call the test plan. What is a test plan? A test plan is basically a document that contains test strategies, test scope, objectives, resource. It details what is it called now? It could detail schedules, the test kit, expected result, actual result. It kind of like all encompassing. Like I said, there is no basic standard to say this is everything that your test plan must have, but however, some of these things I had mentioned are some of the basic things that your test plan should contain. So basically, test plan is a document really that a tester plans out to kind of like document how he or she wants to test this particular application or web service or a web app. So you get that document, you plan it out, of course segmentizing it on different sessions and what it's gonna entail on how you want to test a particular application. That's basically what test plan is. Now, why is test plan important? Test plan is very important because it kind of like gives insight to not just the QA team. It gives insight to other teams as well, like on what the QA activities are about. For example, it gives insight to the product team to see what the QA test was about or what they did and all of that. Then it gives insight to anybody. It could give insight also to the devs as to tell them what exactly you intend to test. So it's always advisable to do a kind of framework where you have a test-driven environment, such that your test plan activities in terms of the planning aspect and all of that are available even before the development starts. It kind of like helps the developer know and ascertain what exactly you have in mind for this application based on the product requirement. One other thing that is important, or that from recent times that we have seen as something foundational or something that has helped in the whole QA segment, is the agile approach, where the tester or everybody has to be at the beginning of the product requirement, gathering the refinements and all of that. a tester needs to be there from beginning so that he or she can understand in details, holistically, not just what they are being told now. Like, you can see exactly what the client intends to do with this application, that that the team is building. I talk so fast, right? Apologies, I will try to calm down. So basically, that's really what it is, right? So it's always nice if a tester can carry out this test planning activity before the project starts. Of course, in an agile environment, things can change, right? So some things can change as the project proceeds, but however, it's kind of like still help the team know exactly the idea behind how the tester intends to test this application. So that's one of the major reasons why a test plan is important. It can like give a clear guide to the QA activities and what the team is doing, how the tester is intending to test the application. So let's talk about some of the components that a test plan entails. I had mentioned some already when I was talking about what test plan is, right? So one of the components that a test plan can entail is a test scenario, exit criteria, entry criteria, the test objective, the resource, the environment, right? The test case IDs and all of that. So in order not to be too practical, let's just do a scenario, right? Now, what do I mean by a scenario? Imagine you have an application that the first interaction with the application is to log into the application, right? So when you are logging into the application, let's assume that this application is going to have two major parameters for you to log into this system. And those two major parameters are the username and of course not all, and the password. The username could be maybe an email or maybe it's just a username. Now, you have these two parameters. You need to put in these two parameters to be able to log into this particular application, right? So, a test scenario could be, confirming the ability to log into the application when I put in a correct password and a correct username. So my expected result from that, this is a document. Now let's use a Microsoft Excel, for example. So I have my test scenario, my test case here. My test case is login functionality. Then my test scenario, my first test scenario on that test case body is ability to log into the application when I use the correct username and correct password. Expected result, user successfully log into the application. Are you seeing I'm ready? Can you see the segmentization? There may be somewhere resource, the developer and the tester. Developer could be you, put your name in there. Then tester could be maybe me, Mercy, tester. Then date of test and all of that. So that is like a sample scenario of how a test plan looks like. It's one of the activities that you can see in a test plan. So I do that. So that is my expected result. Then I could have a segment that says the actual result. So when the developer is done now and I want to test that app, I could actually log in with a correct username and correct password and see exactly what my result was. If I was able to log into the application, yay, my test passed. So in my result or my status, I put a pass, which could be a green light that, yeah, this test scenario was fine. Then imagine I tried the same thing, but it didn't work. That means my test failed, right? So it failed. So I'm going to put a fail there and the date of test and all that it failed. But of course, when test fails, not like you're fine. What happened is that you go back to your dev and say, this is what I was expecting from this particular thing. This is what I got. So where do we go from here? So they were, oh, really? Okay, sort it out and all of that, bring it back, right? And then you test again, you retest it, and then it's fine. So you update your test plan. Now, one of the key things that is important is that your test plan must be up to date. Like, if you have tested something before that failed, like some days ago, and you have retested it and it's fine, you should update your test plan, because if you leave it as fail, people are going to look at your test plan and assume that that particular test scenario, test case failed, but it didn't really fail, right? So because you retested and all of that. But one way you can keep track that these things failed before and then they were corrected and all of that is using a bug report kind of thing. But anyway, that is another topic. So I hope you were able to really like have one or two insight of how a test plan is being done. I've told you what a test plan is. I've told you why test plan is important, at least in a nutshell. I have told you the component of a test plan. I've told you how to create a test plan by giving you that scenario of a login. So one of the activities that is important when you're creating your test plan is your product analysis. It's good to be there when the product requirement gathering are happening so that you also have a good insight as to what it entails. Then it's also thing to know your entry criteria. What exactly is it that you intend to start this particular testing with? Then your exit criteria, at what stage will you say that you are done? So that also is an important thing to have. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's becoming a bit more and more as we go, it's going to become a bit more technical. Today is all about theory, right? And all of that. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's my delight to have you watch me say these things as I learn them and journey with me as I keep learning about testing. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please, if you are not yet subscribed to my channel, do not hesitate to subscribe. I'm trying to meet the 1,000 subscriber limit. Please, match rather, not limit. Please and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much. It's my delight to be here today to talk to you about this career that I find very insightful and interesting. Do have a wonderful week ahead. I love you so much. Bye.